So there being no comment, why don't we close the public hearing and call the regular.
Excuse me, I just arrived. Was this the public hearing for the
Correct.
for zoning? I do have a comment.
Okay, go ahead.
I arrived a little late because I was trying to figure out exactly what the zoning change was. You see, it turned out that when the map was finally put online, it wasn't there yesterday. The color of that had changed from orange to pink, at least on my screen, which means it's in the low density residential neighborhood. And then it took a few minutes to locate a copy of the zoning ordinance to find out what that means. And I actually got into your meeting before I read what that means. So these comments are somewhat uninformed. Which camera is on here?
I can just clarify that the map puts the parcel in the Hamlet neighborhood zone, not the low density residential zone.
So the map online is not correct. It's pink. The area that I'm looking at is pink. Is that correct or not?
It's in the Hamlet neighborhood zone.
It's in the Hamlet. It's supposed to be in the Hamlet zone. Let me just look at that map again. Sure looks pink to me, but so you're saying it's in the light orange zone as its neighbor is. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, then I understand a little more about it. I'm just going to review something you already know, which is the history of how this change has come about. According to David, the original change several public hearings ago was initiated by the town in compensation for the fact that development opportunities for the hamlet had been reduced because of the solar farm. There apparently the change that was proposed met with some pushback from neighborhood and others, citing among other things the fact that it was a wetland and that the change would have allowed commercial use of that corner property right across the road from Jennings Pond. So he went back again and reshaped it to leave the corner out. And you had another public hearing, and I hope I haven't forgotten anything. And then you discussed it and decided that the landlocked interior parcel really didn't, for reasons I didn't understand, but that's me, really didn't need to be part of the change either, leaving only the road frontage parcel on Bald Hill Road. And at that point, I'll make the observation that I assumed that the only reason that parcel was included in the first place was to provide access so that you could make use of the development potential of the interior parcel. The development potential of this parcel is minimal. I was originally told that this was town initiated and that the landowner was willing. I think I heard at the last meeting of where this was discussed that the landowner sort of said, well, I could probably make use of this for future plans, but there really has been no request from the landowner, and it's simply still, as I understand it, a compensation for development potential lost by the solar farm. Well, folks, for 2 houses, I think that's what I heard, for an additional 2 houses, which I don't think the neighborhood is going to be terribly happy about, although maybe they just don't care. I think this is a silly change to make. And I oppose it. I think you just leave it as it is and accept the loss of the development potential of the solar farm. I think that's about it. Thanks.
You're welcome. Anyone else have anything to say before we close the public hearing? Not hearing anything. So let's close the public hearing and move to the regular meeting. There are a bunch of potential additions and at least one deletion to the agenda. I propose we just move them all down to the beginning of the business. The deletion is the Jeff Lang discussion because Jeff has COVID and he's pretty under the weather with it. and also out of town, so we'll have to come back to that. And there's there's a last minute one, I don't know if you saw it, the adding a discussion dealing with the board resignations. So there's more than one board. Yeah. Any other changes needed? If not, moving on to privilege of the floor. Is anyone who would like to address the board? I think Sarah does.
I just had, I didn't take a look at Jim's suggestions for the grant, but if car chargers are being considered, we should look into the EV Make Ready program through the state, which will cover almost all costs for installing certain types of EV chargers, except for the cost of the system of the charger itself, which we could use the grant money for. That was one, and
what's
kind
that?
of an aside, if
Could you tell us again what that was? I mean, I didn't catch
it's called
it.
the EV Make Ready program. It's through NYSERDA. If it's publicly accessible, they will cover up to 100% of costs, which includes site work. So if there's any consideration of doing like any work in the parking area or things like that, you could kind of try and do them in tandem. But up to 100% of those costs, aside from the cost of the system itself and any like recurring maintenance fees or things like that. And then also if you wanted me to be involved in the rules of order discussion, because I did write those and send those out. If otherwise, I think you guys have those recommendations from last time.
We do, but you were we deferred to talking about them because you weren't there.
Mm-hmm.
If you hang around though, we have that discussion with you.
Yep, if you would like me to, I'll probably be here.
Definitely would.
That was it.
Gary, you should be wearing a mask.
No, I just took a COVID test, I'm negative.
Doesn't matter.
Well, if I don't have it, I can't give it to anybody.
Gary,
asking
would you mind terribly just doing it for us? It is what we decided as the board. Would you mind? We're all doing it. I haven't
You
had.
know, this is the only town, 10 counties that require a mask.
Okay.
The only town.
Fine,
The congressman
That's
needs no
fine.
mask, senators need no mask.
fine.
Town of Danby has to need, and we don't even have.
Or
a
at least
crowd
meeting
yet.
in public. you know.
Pardon me?
I feel like at least we're meeting in public. I mean, and it's,
Well,
wearing a
I'm glad of
mask is
that.
not the worst thing. I mean, it's
But
not,
basically,
not like
things are back to
something-
normal.
so.
Well, they're far from normal. I know a lot of people who have COVID.
If he's not wearing a mask, he should leave.
Well, then you ought to be here.
Well, she resigned.
Pardon me?
She resigned.
I didn't hear you.
She
Let's
re-
just-
she re-
I can't even hear what you
She resigned.
Yeah, let's just
I still didn't hear.
stop.
Sarah resigned.
Sarah's lying.
She resigned.
Oh, she resigned.
Yes.
Yes, but Gary, that has nothing to do with, we're asking you, would you please just, I know that you don't like it. I know you don't like it. I'm not,
Do you think it's necessary?
yes,
Why?
because we just had one of our people who was listed to have a discussion who can't come, who's sick with it, and not just a little. Now, it's not,
It's ridiculous. It's
Okay,
absolutely ridiculous.
will be ridiculous.
You know, it's ridiculous.
Good, that's one thing, that one way we can be described. Okay,
We have a couple hands up. David,
Yeah, I just wanted to, I put my hand up when we were talking about deletions, suggest deleting the cannabis regulation because I have not been able to prepare them for this meeting.
okay.
Next
That's
meeting,
9.5.
cannabis constraints. The next is- I wanted to look more at that too.
Okay. Rhonda,
I saw that that Keith was here, and I just thought since he was here, I would say thank you to him and the Highway Department for working on Peter Road, which I know is quite a challenge, and I was happy to see them out working. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay.
I have one thing that maybe.
Yep, my hand is up, Joel.
I'm sorry. I didn't see it.
The DOT has acknowledged that they are considering reducing the speed limits on those 3 developments and parts of Troy Road.
Right.
So I just wanted people to know that they are looking at that.
Yeah.
And then we can move on to the next a bunch of roads. Anyway,
And that correspondence is included with the agenda? For those-
with what?
It's included with the agenda for anybody who wants to look at it.
Yeah, I read it or not.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah.
Well, with a CLEO budget request. Ted?
Thank you. You know, I was, like I said, I was searching, as I said, during the public hearing, I was searching for information, and so arrived at the meeting a little bit late. So I perhaps missed 2 things that I see, one that I see on the 2 that I see on the agenda that I wonder if you could cover in some more detail in order to solicit, in order to be able to discuss intelligently during privilege of the floor. What does it mean to delete Jeff Lang, and why are you discussing it? And what is this add IT security needs discussion? How does that, how do you intend to justify that in an executive session? And was there an announcement made that before I arrived that had to do with Sarah resigning?
That was active, wasn't it?
Sarah submitted a resignation by email earlier today.
It has not been yet entered into the record.
Okay, well, that answers that one.
You mentioned it.
I did mention it.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I was delayed in entering because of the apparent change in zoning classification on the map, which has been cleared up now, but it took me some time.
Regarding Jeff Lang, you'll notice that 9.7 on the agenda was to discuss broadband next steps with Jeff Lang.
Yeah.
And Jeff is out of town and has COVID.
Okay.
If you were at the last meeting, you recall that with Jeff Lang and Zach.
Yeah. Oh, I remember. Thank you.
Yeah,
And
okay.
And 3.6.
Was a late addition, and whether it warrants an executive session is something we'll take up at the time.
Well, that's interesting. Thank you.
Okay. Where are we? Anyone else for privilege of the floor? There is correspondence. In addition to that which Leslie just mentioned from the DOT, we have a budget request from the Cuba Lake Watershed Intermunicipal Organization, which we can plug into the budget process. I know of no announcements. Does anybody?
Do you want me to read Sarah's resignation letter?
Sure. I think Sarah.
Okay, so Sarah emailed this afternoon to let us know to include her letter as correspondence that she will not be participating as a board member. It has been such a pleasure to work with everyone at the town of Danby. I believe that we have made strides in making information easier to access for the public, but I hope that the remaining board will continue to make this a priority in their work going forward. I'm also proud of the work we did during our rezoning effort. I will remain an active participant in town government as much as I'm allowed. Unfortunately, I cannot give my position the time and dedication that the office requires and deserves. Therefore, I resign from the Danby Town Board effective immediately, September 21, 2022.
Which I was very sorry to read, Sarah.
Yes.
As we all were.
I just want to point out that that's not an official way for an
Out of order.
elected employee to resign.
Out of order.
You're out of order, Rhonda, but she's not an employee, and any board member can resign from any position if they choose to.
Well, I misspoke about the employee, but an elected official cannot resign that way.
Please, anybody can resign. Let's go. What's next?
Reports. Dan Klein's not here, but Keith is. Keith, would you like to do a highway report?
Keith, are you there?
Yeah.
I'm working on it. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Yeah,
There's a couple things we wanted to go over, I think. We had a question of piece of machinery we were thinking about obtaining. We're hoping to have an auction to sell off some of our old equipment that we have around. And we have a much needed piece of equipment that we're trying to purchase. And I think Laura has something presented for that.
Yeah, I've got all of those items on the agenda at various places during the business part of the meeting, if you want to deal with it there. Does that work for you?
Yeah, could you repeat that again, Joel? I'm sorry.
But all of those items are on the agenda at various points under the business of the meeting.
Yep.
If you're willing to deal with it there as it comes up.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. The consent agenda. Well, we're kind of limited, aren't we?
Well, maybe we don't pass the consent agenda, but I would approve the abstracts for highway and water district.
That's all that's there, so that's all. Okay, if you think those are good, we have a second?
I'll second.
And there's no discussion, so.
Connor.
To vote.
Yes.
Hunter,
Yes.
Woodworth,
Yes.
Gagnon.
Yes. So what are we going to do about the fact that we don't have a general fund?
We'll have
approve?
to do it at another meeting.
And it seems like if we're going to be scheduling meetings for budget, we can
Yeah,
do
we
it
might.
at the same time without having to do two separate meetings.
I agree.
So whenever we get to scheduling that, we'll do it at the same time.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, back to the top. Yeah.
And also the one voucher from water that's not on this, we can do that at the same time.
There's one that
Just
didn't make it.
Right.
Okay,
All right. Let's see. Resolution support for housing affordability and supportive infrastructure. We have a draft resolution and also a copy of the grant application that David provided. David, you want to just highlight why we're doing what we're doing?
Yeah, so I was very happy this year to work with Toma Development, a consultant out of Cortland, on drafting our homeowner rehab grant for low-income homeowners in the town to repair homes. That is a 2-year grant program that I hope will be funded for $500,000. We received $5,000 from the county to help us work with the grant consultants. And a lot of these larger grants are very complicated. The great thing about the grant that we applied for is that within that grant, it will also fund the management of the program entirely with grant funding. So there won't be a huge burden for the town. As I mentioned, that program would run for 2 years, and this isn't funding is available annually. So that gives us the ability to apply for funding for the same thing or something else next year. It's my understanding that no other towns have applied for funding from this funding line from the county, and that they're considering getting rid of it. The application for the year is due by the end of the month, and I thought the town of Danby should be the one who takes advantage of it. And because the work with the grant writer this year costs a little more than the 5,000 that we asked for, I figured I'd ask for the full amount, which is 10,000. Put in there is also some money for public outreach and some money for my time that the town would be contributing as an in-kind. My hope is that we could work with a consultant with this budget on more than one grant application, but for as far as compliance, I'm going to say at least one. And I think we have a good chance of getting this money from the county. The difference in applying for 10,000 instead of 5,000 is that it has to be approved by the legislature rather than just by staff. But I thought that it was worth that for a number of reasons, including the fact that I don't think we have any competition.
Sounds good.
Do we need to approve that?
Yes, you want to make a motion?
I do make a motion that we submit an application for the homeowners grant program.
Using the drafted form that David supplied, right?
Yeah.
Second that.
Any discussion? I think we're good. Janice?
Connors,
Yes.
Hunter,
Yes.
Woodworth,
Yes.
Kenyon.
Yes. Can you change the view? So that people can see?
Can you hit P3?
P3?
P3, isn't it?
Oh,
And then that was the. Wait, I thought you said that. Did you say this one, entry? Yeah. It didn't do anything. There we go. What did you do? Moving around then? Yeah, that was it. Yeah. I guess I didn't press it hard enough.
Okay.
oh, well, okay.
Hopefully you can see better now. It's kind of a long view, isn't it?
It's kind of a long view and it's very difficult to see whoever's sitting on the left side of the table in that view. Could you pan it a little bit over? We don't need to see the empty floor.
No, we're two.
We're limited to 3 options.
Yeah.
I could try.
I don't know who you're thinking you can't see because there's nobody on the side unless it's Joel.
Now we can see them. I can see Pat and Catherine.
How's that?
Better. Thank you.
Okay, that's P1. It doesn't get the speaker, but there isn't anybody, so. Okay. Right, the next board meeting is scheduled for October 4th, which is Yom Kippur. So it would be good to avoid that. So I'm proposing that we move the meeting to Monday, the first October meeting. And also the public hearing previously scheduled, which has fortunately not yet been advertised, could be moved to that same meeting.
Okay.
So I move we do that, move the first October meeting to October 3rd, and the public hearing associated therewith also.
What's the?
That was
Tax cap.
the tax cap override.
Tax cap, okay.
Mhm.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Monday the 3rd.
Right. Okay.
Was that a go?
Yeah, I think we're ready for the vote.
Okay, Connors,
Yes.
Hunter,
Yes.
Woodworth,
Yes.
Kenyon.
Yes. Okay. The highway trucks, which we decided to buy, are arriving sooner than we expected. Whether or not they arrive sooner than expected, we have to finance the acquisition. And Laura can tell us about what she has investigated here, our options. Or is she, yeah, she's still here.
Yep, I'm right here. There. Get everybody, okay. So these trucks, if you remember, you had given us approval to order, and we ordered those back in 2021, at the end of 2021. And the expected delivery date was going to be in the first quarter of 2023, because just the way the world has been, and supplies and all of those other things. Well, they came in early. And that really doesn't have anything to do with the fact that we're seeking this financing. I mean, yes, we'd like to get them in here as quickly as possible, but it has come time where we've got to think about our financing options. Interest rates are due to go up soon. We have gotten some quotes from 3 different banks. I've got a list of those. I sent that out, some quotes for 3-year, 4-year, and 5-year terms with interest rates. One's from State Bank, another was Tompkins Trust, and the next one was Sun First. We have done business with State Bank in the past when we financed our mini excavator, and those they're great to work with, as the other companies I'm sure are as well, or the other banks are as well. But State Bank, it looks like, has given us the lowest interest rates, and we, in looking at the budget and maybe what can be fit into the budget, the payments that we had been making in the last 4 years on the other trucks that we financed, you know, were around the $160,000, $170,000 mark. But we're just maybe suggesting we'd like to lock in at a rate. That's why we're kind of brought it to this board meeting. Before those rates do go up, and they are expected to, we've got some locked in rates that that are good for us. But the State Bank, a 4-year rate, is a fixed rate, 4.32%. And that's what we're suggesting, and by the quotes that we gathered from these 3 sources. You know, I guess, and we have a resolution that is prepared for that, in the event that you think that that's a good idea to move forward with that. Just getting permission to enter into what's called a lease purchase agreement with State Bank based on government finance for an amount of $750,531 for a period of 4 years. The fixed interest rate is 4.32%. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't pay this off earlier than that. When we get to the end of each year and we see we've got some fund balance or some things that have rolled in there, you know, where we could say, hey, let's pay more down, let's pay more on this. That is an option that's available to, and I asked each of them about that.
There's no prepayment.
No, you can pay more on it, and knock it down quicker as well. There is another thing that's coming, you know, it kind of fits into this, well, with this financing here. There's some other add-ons that we need to have on our trucks, okay? I'm not exactly sure what they are. Keith can probably speak to that. That's not included in this $750,000. Each add-on for some things that were needed for whatever are about $8,500. So we're talking about an additional $25,500. I didn't add them onto this because $25,500 is something that we can handle right now from our fund balance and from the money we have in the highway. We could pay that directly out, so there's no interest associated with that. We could pay that in cash. So I didn't add it on to this, but
We could budget, but either way, we don't need to finance it.
right, we wouldn't need to finance it. We could handle that 25.5. What do you think, Keith? I didn't mention that to Keith yet. I just kind of had that together when I prepared this part of the document. But he knows of this other financing as we were looking at these three banks. So what we're looking for is if you guys wanted to approve something for us to move forward so that we can lock in at these rates before they go up, would be, I think, a good move to save a little bit.
I would say that, you know, calling it lease purchase is something of a misnomer. It's actually an installment purchase, isn't it?
Well, it's an installment purchase. It is called a lease purchase agreement. It is an installment purchase, but what it is called is a lease purchase agreement. And that bypasses things like bonding. It bypasses, it's just the terminology for it. It's the terminology that's used at the bank for these types of purchases. It is in fact an installment purchase. It's not like a typical lease. When somebody thinks about a lease, they think about leasing a personal car.
We're not renting. It's
At the end of the loan, at the end of the last payment,
We own it. Yeah.
We own it.
it's not like there's anything. So don't be confused with that word lease. It's just what they're using at the bank for this type of a purchase for municipalities, some larger trucks and things, lease purchase agreement.
We actually own it from the get-go, don't we? Except the bank has basically a lien on it until we pay it
Right,
off.
exactly, yes. Mhm.
So I think that an authorizing resolution was drafted, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
resolution, approval by the town board to enter into a finance agreement to finance the purchase of 3 dump/snow plow trucks.
Yes,
For the amount, with State Bank, for the amount of $750,531 for 4 years.
You want to move that?
I move it.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Pat seconded it?
Second.
Yeah. Any discussion? I think 4 years seems like a reasonable term.
Especially if you can pay it off early.
Right.
Anytime.
Well, the interest rate's slightly lower if we did it in 3 years. A heavier lift. Okay, ready to vote?
Connors,
Yes,
Hunter,
Yes.
Woodward,
yes,
Kenyon.
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make the contacts tomorrow and get that started.
Yes. That brings us to the agreement to spend funds, where, Keith, you want to explain what came up here that made it possible for you to do German Cross? You were unmuted before, but now you're muted. There you go.
I'm sorry, what was that again, Joel? I'm sorry.
We're at the agreement to spend funds.
Yep,
And you are proposing doing the German Cross Road.
yep.
And maybe you could explain how that opportunity came to be.
All right, so German Crossroad, the county's in the middle of, right now, they're doing a big project down on Coddington Road. They're raising up the intersection to make it's a pretty bad safety hazard down there. And in the process, they're gonna do about, I want to say about 300 feet of our road down on German Crossroad. And right now is a really good opportunity to take advantage of all they're giving us the work for for paving the rest of the road. They're gonna pave it all for free. It's as far as the labor intensive part of it goes. We'll just be paying for the pavement on that. So and I've addressed the road. It's cracking. There's a few water issues that we went down and we took care of. We fixed that. It is time for something to be done with the road. So our budget's been looking pretty good this year. So we're taking advantage of it if we can. So I think it's a good thing to do for the town. At some point, it will have to be done this way. There's no, sometimes you can chip seal a road and repair it and bring it back around. This road's a little, it will need to be paved, which is much more expensive. And again, very, very labor intensive. So it's a good time to take advantage of it.
So does this involve removing the existing pavement and then repaving, or is it? open?
No, they wouldn't be removing. They'll probably go over it. This will be a hot mix. Usually county uses a hot mix pavement, which is a little bit better than what we use. We're kind of getting the benefit of that too. But as far as removing the pavement, they'll just go over the top of it. The first 300 to 800 feet's probably already removed. They're coming down into our section anyway. With this project that they're doing. So they'll have to repave about 300-400 feet of it anyway, regardless. But we're trying to, I can't remember. Laura, do you remember what the mileage was? I don't know if they have I think it came out to about 7, maybe 0.5 of a mile or something, but that's, yeah, I think your volume's off, Laura, or you're muted.
Yeah, Laura, you're muted.
There we go. Okay. Hi, everybody again. Yes, I just had that and I sent that off. But I'm not seeing that quote in front of me right now. But it sounds correct about what you're saying.
Well, we have the number because you gave it to us earlier today. Right, it's what, 30,000 something?
I did send Janice the quote from
Suco,
Oh,
wasn't it?
from Seneca Stone. It's a Seneca Stone quote. So I know it's up there. Oh, wait a minute. I'm looking at it right here. German Crossroad, 1,500 feet, 1,500 feet by 22 feet, 3 inches
Yeah,
for
okay.
the width. Type 3 binder.
And the amount was?
$49,626, but we've just got 50,000 down there.
Oh, give you a little extra for,
A little extra just in case,
you see?
it says not to exceed, so.
Yeah,
not to exceed 50,000. Yeah.
seems like a terrific opportunity to me.
Mhm.
Remove it.
I'll move it.
A second.
Any discussion?
Nope.
Okay, Janice.
Okay, that was Woodworth and then Connors.
Yep.
Connors,
Yes.
Hunter,
Yes.
Woodworth,
Yes,
Yes.
Kenyon.
So that's approved. You know, we're all here, we could have signed it, because we're all supposed to
know.
sign it, you know?
I know, and I still have some others too that haven't been signed. Now that we're in person, I'll bring them all. Everybody can sign them.
I wrote on it.
Oh, geez.
A little piece of paper over it.
Well, maybe
Copy
Janice-
or-
Oh,
Maybe
yeah, if
Janice
you've got a
can make a
paper
copy of it.
copy there, pass it around and sign it, and that one will be one that's done.
Well,
Sure,
one's done, yeah.
I can print it out.
Good,
Okay.
okay.
The reason why IT security needs might warrant an executive session is because of the vulnerability that might be revealed if we were to have it in a public session.
Mm.
So I think it's warranted.
I do too.
So you want to do that now? Shouldn't take long. Shouldn't take too long.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Somebody needs to move it.
No,
question
now
about hybrid executive sessions.
do this, right?
Do you just want to retreat to the room back here, the supervisor's office, and then I can join you in there?
Could do that.
Okay. All right,
Would any,
somebody's got to move that we go into.
Yes, we need a motion.
I move that we go into executive session for the IT discussion. Security IT.
Second.
That is not one of the legally permissible reasons to go in. What is the legally permissible reason to have an excessive executive session?
I'm trying to think which category would fit under, because it seems like it should be.
It's not a, is it a personnel issue? Is it
It's
an ongoing contract negotiation?
it's
Is
a,
it-
it's a security issue where we don't want to have any information aired on how people can attack us.
Safety issue. Yeah,
The safety issue, but that's which category of permissible executive session does
well,
that fit under?
Are you going to have a technical discussion or are you going to reveal technical details? I doubt it.
Yes, we are actually.
Or actually, Sarah, you had a comment?
Yeah, I just looked up the reasons for executive sessions, and one of them is matters which imperil the public safety, and I would consider that being one of them.
I thought there was something that you could reasonably invoke.
yep.
So who
So,
seconded moving to executive session?
Pat, did you move?
I did.
Oh, you did, Catherine.
So Catherine
So-
moved and Pat seconded, or you?
I'll second it.
Was you seconded?
And do we need to vote on that or it's just final?
Yeah, you have to vote on it.
Yeah.
You have to vote. Okay. So Connors,
Yes.
Hunter,
Yes.
Woodworth,
Yes.
Daniel.
Yes. It shouldn't take long. We'll be back. Maybe.
We'll be here.
And anybody have any idea how the town's IT system can imperil public safety?
We're going into.
They went into an executive session.
Discussion IT.
Yeah.
That's not a.
They said for reasons of public safety.
I would think public safety and the fact that it could potentially cost us lots of money if we were attacked with ransomware or things like that. I would take.
That's not public safety.
It could be if they take all our money and we can't do the rest of our job.
That's still not public safety, but that's all right. Someone else can reason that out.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear why they were going into executive session. Can
They
someone
said
remind
for
me?
reasons of public safety. And on the agenda, it says, where was it here? Add IT security needs discussion.
That's what they're doing for executive session?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
It goes. Wait a minute. Obviously not.
Anybody else experiencing COVID things in their home?
No, thank goodness, not here.
Good.
No, it's not. Mhm.
Did Janice go into the executive session?
Yep.
Yeah, town clerks often do.
Oh, okay.
David, are you behind your screen there? Behind your picture?
I am.
I'm just curious. You have a personal picture up, but mine does not appear. Do you have any thoughts that might save me debugging why that is the case?
It must have to do with your account, the way you set it up. It's an option you have to.
No. It's not that. That's what I'll be checking. And you're not a host, so that's not the reason.
Mine's not showing up either.
Huh. Interesting. I wonder what changed.
Let me know when you find out.
Ted,
Yeah, boss. Yep.
how did the Danby Market fare this year?
It was mixed. There were, I think, one or two good days, so to speak, and one or two not so good days.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's at this point, I would not by any means describe it as a huge success. On the other hand, it's good enough so that if the vendors can be convinced to keep coming to future ones, it takes time to build it up.
Sure.
Yeah, Pamela just reminded me I could, for those of you who are here, I should announce to you that we are aiming for our Harvest Festival, which will include some of the vendors from the Danby Market on October 16 in the park, Sunday, 1 to 5. We have music lined up. We have lined up some hay rides. I'm pretty sure we've lined up some hay rides. What else do we have, Pam? The Cornell Raptors will be showing up. Yeah. Yeah.
Is this through the community council?
Community council, of course. Yes, and the week before, Pamela is refreshing my memory at a rapid pace. And the week before that is the rescheduled rain date for the hatchet and knife throwing demonstration. I think we had more interest in that event than pretty much any other event we've we've run in the past that I remember. It turns out that right on Yapel Road, we have the world champion hatchet thrower, several years running. And I believe also the quick draw champion for knives. He just lives here, nice, innocent, quiet guy, and he's consented he's to show us his stuff and perhaps even teach us some of his stuff. Although it's not quite clear to me how he will teach things to us in a safe manner. One would hate to see a mistake happen. But do come, that's October 9th, 2 in the afternoon. The Harvest Fest, 1 in the afternoon. Here we are.
I relocated a mouse to the community park the other day.
I hope that you that is more than a quarter mile from where you relocated it from. My understanding is that they can find their way home for at least a quarter mile.
Somebody has measured it, huh? No, it's 6 miles. So it was actually a very nice place along all of the hedgerow there. So I think the mouse will be happy. I know I will be. He really did a job in my plant room. He ate one of my cacti. So, well, among other things. But,
okay.
so if you see a mouse running around while you're having your knife throwing or something, and he's saying, I want to go home.
Yes. Our friends, the mice. So actually, as long as we're on animals, I'd like to say that, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Our house has been under constant circling by a flock of 12 turkeys, but they invited some of their friends to have a gaggle fest or whatever they call it. And 2 days ago, we had 40 turkeys next to the house.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, of varying sizes, toms, hens, what you call big poults, and we also had small poults, young folks.
Good.
And that's combining with the they were actually out on the field at the same time as we have up to a dozen deer, which is exciting too. And then we have the crows and other, and it was a regular zoo out here.
You'd be surprised what you can see at night.
Well, the problem is you can't see at night.
Well, if you have outdoor lights, you can see at night.
What you can hear too. I don't know, Rhonda, you don't live too far from me. Do you hear the coyote every night?
Yeah, where do you live?
I live on Hill Road.
Oh, okay. Well, I think we have a different set of coyotes, but I do hear the coyotes every night. That would be far. Hill Road would probably be 3 miles. But yeah, there are coyotes up behind me, and they get my neighbor's dogs barking, which is obnoxious, but.
Yeah, we've actually been a little bit, I'm not sure, disappointed or puzzled by the fact that we haven't heard coyotes out here for a long time.
Really? They're all over on this end of town.
Right. They need space, and look at all that deer deer is one of their major foods, especially young deer.
Oh,
But what I do is I have cups out and I get flying squirrels.
Mm-hmm. Those are cute little.
I have like 10 of them. So they're really funny. You can stand there and watch them eat. I mean, stand right up there and watch them eat, so. They're kind of neat.
And let's see. Gary, you're on Gunderman. Pamela told me that she saw a number of mailboxes that appeared to be bungeed on to their posts on Gunderman, and ours mysteriously was removed from its post. And
I
ended
haven't
up in
noticed
a
it.
ditch.
I haven't noticed it. Nobody's bothered ours or nothing has.
Uh-huh.
You should report it to your postmaster.
Eh. What are
You
they?
get
gonna
your
do?
mail from Spencer?
Yes, of course.
Okay, well, you should tell her.
Oh, I bother her enough about non-delivery of mail. This is not her problem.
Well. But it's a federal offense.
It's vandalism, but what can you do? Interestingly, when we first moved in here, shortly either before or after, I forget, someone took a baseball bat and bashed in our mailbox. And I sort of took the attitude, well, it looks so bashed up, they won't bother it anymore. And nobody did.
Huh.
For a while. And who knows, maybe it fell off because the screws just rotted out. It just seemed unusual.
Mm.
Man,
My
shit.
latest project has been decibels. So I've been catching people exceeding the decibel limit.
Oh, what do you use for meter?
Just a regular decibel meter.
You mean you have a dedicated sound pressure meter, or are you using something on your iPhone?
It's a sound pressure meter,
Really?
a handheld thing. And I sit out in the driveway, and when they're really loud, I read the meter.
Hmm.
The crickets are 55 decibels. Can you believe that out there at like 5 o'clock in the morning?
Yes. When I was in Puerto Rico, the coqui was much louder than that, the tree frogs.
Yeah.
You just had to learn to ignore them.
Peepers are pretty loud, I would imagine. But no, I have caught a number of people going by, and so and have been working with the state police, and they said they were going to plan a really official decibel thing out. I suggested 96B. I don't know where they're going to actually have it, but they're going to do it.
Well, maybe they'll catch the mad motorcyclist.
Motorcycles are loud. Yeah, some of them are really loud, but I had one truck, a pickup truck, go by the other day, 96.6 decibels.
At a distance of how far, you think?
I was 50 feet maybe. I'm supposed to be within 50 feet of the vehicle according to law. So I was probably 50 feet or less.
50
Is
feet.
that by the muffler or music coming out of their car? Like,
No.
what?
Oh, really early in the morning, going to work, and it's his exhaust system. I don't know if it's the muffler specifically, but some of them have, some of these souped up trucks. He's got a truck that's called a lifted truck, where they hike up the undercarriage, and then they have to buy bigger tires, and they have to buy steps to get up into the cab. And he's got all these digital lights and everything. So it's a boy toy, and it's brand new, I'm sure. It looks very nice. And he goes vroom. So
Oh, looks like there are a few people in the town hall meeting room arriving.
Yeah, where are you? Come on, get out. Hello.
You walked by the camera, we can't see you anymore.
No, you coming out here in the room? Come on. It's an open meeting. Get out here.
Too darn comfortable here.
Where are you? In the little room.
Board meeting. I don't know what the hell he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
In a mask? I don't see.
Yep.
There's bullshit. Yeah, go to the little room with the knock on the door. See if you're gonna have a meeting. Supposed to have a meeting. Have him arrested. You're a DA. Shit, look who's next. He's there, but that don't look like Laura Shelby. That looks like her husband.
I didn't hear what you said. I did hear my name though.
Those might be people who chose the Zoom, right? Yeah. So they're not here, my dad's not here. So what are you doing, Jim? Feeling better, yeah, I tested negative. Yeah. Encouraged. So I'm in good shape. Well, still a little tired. I'm tired, but I'm more on the sinus. Good thing we shut down the universe for this one. Shut down what? The universe. Yeah. Apparently, hey, we can take a seat up there, pretend we're not what you want. Where? Supposed to go knock on the door after we're gonna be town board meeting. Yeah, good. 10%. You say the pledge of allegiance, right? I know, no, you have to control the flag, I don't know. I don't wanna see no more of you guys have pig roast either, that we're gonna have to have this no government, I don't wanna see you have to call. I want you to come out and put in for a permit. Yeah, okay. Then you go up there and you can see my neighbor, kid likes to run around on his motorbike once or twice a week. I suppose that's really my, yeah. Howdy. It doesn't address the policy.
You know, it's not just about,
Even if you tested good.
it's not just about whether you have it.
You're gonna
it's
need
about
more
whether
people to
you
fill
run
it
it
up.
up.
Okay, then we need to, and we need to,
We can't make you, we're asking you, very much asking you to, we're doing.
I appreciate you asking, but I'm not wearing that.
Okay.
Right, so. Anticipated this right.
How long, 10 years? It's not too
I don't know.
We're doing it tonight because it's still under our current
this is our
decision.
first meeting back, so, you know, and a lot of people have said,
If people feel comfortable wearing a mask, they can.
Okay, you know that wearing a mask isn't just about protecting you. You know all those things. What if any one of us doesn't know we have it, we take our masks off and you get it? It goes two ways. It goes, okay. I'm trying to point out that it does go two ways, and I know you're angry, I get it.
I talked to you the other day about a mask.
That wasn't in a public meeting in here, and we can go outside. I mean, I'm willing to go outside, have the rest of the meeting, but we can't.
Well, we can't do that. I mean, we've got an audience that can't attend if we go outside.
Besides doctor's office, this is the only place required.
That's true.
I know it's true.
and doctor's offices, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them
They don't have
require
to.
it.
Medical
because
facilities.
they understand the problems.
We've been seeing that we don't know what's gonna happen after all of the things that we just watched for in England. We don't know any of that. And we don't know the purpose of, we don't know the effects of long haul, which is becoming more and more an issue. It's the request of the town board, elected people, and we, the elected people, agreed that this is what we were gonna do. That is why we're asking you to do it. And I don't know what we have, we're in standoff, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That's unfortunate.
It is.
Because we're doing what you wanted, we're in person.
The governor said we had to.
I couldn't understand you.
No, she
The
Actually,
governor said we had to.
She just didn't. agree.
Closed meetings are open.
Didn't,
She ended that.
She did.
she just didn't sign it.
you were also supposed to come to the microphone to speak. That's the only time you take the microphone with your mask off.
The governor ended closed meetings.
I'm gonna.
Okay.
I don't like that we have this relationship in our town. I'm sorry, but I really wish that we wouldn't be adversarial about something like that is simple as putting on a mask. I'm sorry that we don't agree about it, but it's really not a big ask. I thank you, Dan, for helping out. It's not a big ask. Whether you disagree with us or not.
Ma'am, I can't understand you, you mask, I'm retarded. I got my hearing.
I can hardly hear too.
But I'd like to be able to see you, but
I think
I just came here because we're invited to the meeting and it's not a Zoom meeting on a computer. We finally get to come and sit and speak to you. Not to be
No.
mean about it. Really.
That's frankly, that's why I prefer a Zoom meeting. I can't hear either. It's hard for me to hear Joel. I'm sitting right next to him. It has a matter of whether people whether they speak to a microphone. If I'm sitting here, I bet you can hear me. I don't like the sound from this. I don't like it either. It's just the way we're doing business. We now have to do a hybrid anyway. So there's the option of going home and doing hybrid and not wearing a mask. I know you're not going to do it. I'm just asking you very kindly to consider that, in spite of how crazy you think we are. That's all. And since you're not going to do it, I guess we're down to 3 members of a 4-member board.
We have a quorum present, so we can continue the meeting.
Let's see how quickly we can get through all of this then. Because then we don't have to stay in here very long.
Right.
Sorry to intrude, but could you fix the camera location again? We can only see Joel and Catherine at
Did
this
it
point.
move?
Yeah.
See.
Is this Zoom?
Yes, that's the Zoom. That's the people who are at home. All of those people are in this meeting with us.
Well, they should wait for us.
And you just disrespected 15 minutes of our time. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Who are you talking to?
You.
Yeah, you.
Joel, if you just zoom out, it'll be wide enough.
Maybe we're-
Those people are, I don't know. You know, I was there.
The names are there.
Yeah, but I mean, are they,
They're
board
present.
members or they're just public or what?
Public and,
Well,
they're all public and
Les-
Lee Shipman is our highway
That
supervisor.
one I know.
Laura is,
That's a theme.
Rhonda is a person in the community.
This is not part of the meeting. We need to get back so we can get the meeting stuff done, which is important.
Yeah.
I don't know how to fix this either.
Right. If you
Yes,
can't change the video view, it would suffice. Catherine, we can see you now. Pat, if you move a few places to your left next to Joel, then we'll be able to see you too.
Has the unmasked person left yet?
No.
with what?
Okay, I'm on the phone with the Tompkins County Sheriff.
Oh,
Yes.
You are kidding, Janice.
I am not kidding.
Nobody's broken any laws.
I didn't say there was a law being broken, but this
They're
is a
not gonna
public
come out and arrest
safety
anybody
issue.
not breaking the law.
This is a public safety issue. We have.
No, it's not.
we have a policy.
The
and
governor lifted it.
Gary,
Let her finish her conversation. Let's get on with the
we have a
meeting.
policy in effect, and the policy is that in public meetings, people are masked. If they are not going to comply with the town.
You realize there are more
policy,
people there during the day with,
if they're not going to
than
comply.
there are now.
Gary, you are not allowed to talk right now. You left
It's a
because you weren't allowed to wear a mask, and so you left. If this person is not going to wear a mask, they need to leave as well.
Maybe I'll come back down.
Excuse me, Joel, are you the chair of the meeting? Could you please run the meeting?
Well, we haven't resumed yet.
Oh, we need to resume so we can.
We're about to resume, but I was trying to change the camera.
Don't worry about it. We've got.
Fitting,
Don't worry about it.
I'm here.
Yep.
Okay, where were we?
First is the backhoe. Did we just finish that one? Yes, we did.
Well, we were doing, next was the discussion of process for dealing with board resignations. We got 2 board resignations. You know, Alana Morani resigned from the planning board last week,
A
recently.
few days ago, recently, yes.
And Sarah resigned this afternoon.
And that we should,
So it's still timely to, Pat, you could still put something in the newsletter, right?
Yes, I can.
Because I think it would be good to solicit interest for both of those positions, so we can, we need some sort of semi-formal process for requesting that people express an interest and then have some sort of timeline for considering.
they need to apply.
Yes, but we have to tell them, you know, that, first of all, that there have been resignations. We're looking for people, and to apply, you know.
Go to the website, download the application.
Right, the
Send it
town
in.
clerk has the application on website, and can be, that can be filled out and we can deal with it. But we should probably give them a deadline.
Yes.
Do we want to, how soon do we want to fill these vacancies if we have people willing to serve?
Well, I want to make sure, Joel, that you understand you cannot fill a position for an elected position. Cannot do that. You did that with Janice. It was totally illegal.
No,
We did it with Janice and it was totally
It
legal.
was totally legal.
No, it was not.
Yes, it was.
You fill it by appointment until the next election.
Yeah.
But
That's
you don't
standard
do the
procedure.
appointing.
You're out of order, Rhonda.
Yes.
You-
Thank you, David.
The next meeting is too soon, but the following
Next
meeting,
meeting is too soon, right?
so
How
the
about
following meeting would be fine,
the
which is the middle of.
Second meeting in October.
second meeting in
second meeting in
October?
Okay.
Okay. So why don't we put it on the agenda to deal with at the second meeting in October?
Mhm.
So we have to give them a reply by slightly before that.
Yeah.
What's the meeting, what's the date of the second
I got to
meeting?
bring my calendar.
At the risk of being out of order, did you not spend quite a bit of time with an appointment
This is a
policy?
board
that-
discussion. Let's have a board discussion on this. And every input from out there stops us from doing what we're trying to do.
You have an appointment policy, use it.
Excuse me. Here, I've got a calendar right here.
Okay, good. So we're on the 20th.
Right now, we're on the.
19th, October 19th.
We need October.
October 19th is the next meeting, so it should be 2 days before that, so the 17th.
2 days is enough.
2 days for us to review any applications. Let's see, so the first meeting is the 3rd.
So the 19th is what
19th
Pat's
is the second
suggesting.
meeting.
And Pat's suggesting a reply by the 17th.
Well, I mean, it's definitely at the start. We don't have to do something on the
No,
19th.
Well, it'd be nice if we could.
I know, it'd be nice, but we may not. We have no idea what's going to happen. So I agree. Let's say the 17th. Respond by the 17th is at least a start. There's no, that we're not compelled to do
Okay.
something on the next one.
All right.
We need the applications to even consider anyway. Do we need to move that, or we'll just do the calendar?
Up to you.
I think we put down the fourth in the agenda, and we can make the announcement for the newsletter.
It'll be in the newsletter.
Okay. A
Right, what's
reply by
next?
the 17th, with the hope that the board can act on the 19th.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, was there a motion?
It was not a motion.
Okay.
We didn't think we needed one.
Okay. Perfect.
Meeting dates and, yeah.
It's just an addition to the agenda for the next time and an item to put in the newsletter, soliciting interest. Okay. Oh, yes. I was expecting, Jim Holohan is here. We have this $5,000 grant that we have to decide how to use. Jim shared with us a list of some possibilities. And I've been back and forth on email about it a little bit. Jim,
Yes.
could you, this is a long list, I remember.
It's very long.
Yeah, I like the municipal audits, but especially the building energy efficiency upgrades and the LEDs.
We already did the traffic lights, the
Upgrade municipal building lights.
yeah, we've pretty much done that as well. The parking lot lights are now, well, all the lights in here are LED now. Except for we still got fluorescence in the offices, but that's not a big savings going from fluorescent to LEDs.
Yeah, it makes sense to do the municipal building energy upgrades.
Right, there are a couple possibilities
It
there.
looks, the heat pump system looks good. EV or hybrid municipal vehicle sounds good. EV charging station, it sounds good. What I really like is which wouldn't cost much money as it turns out, but I like it, creating an ongoing student energy internship fund, which is 90% paid by NYSERDA, so it wouldn't be much a part of ours, but
Which
that's a
number
good
are
one.
you on?
The internship is 12.
What would the energy intern do?
Jim, what would the intern energy?
Oh.
What would the, number 12, what would the intern do?
The intern, if there was an intern, they could prepare sort of brochures for the town, have some sort of, maybe help to update things, give information to update the website of, energy efficient programs happening in the town, the county. There wouldn't be a lot to do, or else they put on a, like we had before, a heat pump campaign. They might do a campaign of information out to the general public, so there wouldn't be a lot. We have to kind of create things for them to do, but it could be a small role.
A small portion of this grant.
Very small portion,
Right.
yeah.
Did you put these in any particular order that you had considered?
The list is actually from NYSERDA, that was provided to the CEC, so the towns could figure out what to do with the money. I gave Joel a couple options. I sort of distilled things down. If the town was considering maybe an EV vehicle in the future, something for code enforcement or for keep something to get around town, maybe for local things that wouldn't require maybe a pickup truck or maybe a pickup truck in the future, might go towards that. If there's another energy audit, there hasn't been one for the town hall. There's not a lot to do there, but they would still be able to find some things. And then it could be put in that whatever money was left beyond the audit is to put into recommendations for the town hall. The town hall has a heating system, which it's a good heating system, but it could be updated with heat pumps. So might be able to separate off the main hall, the main meeting room from the clerk's office and the other offices. So you could focus on getting heat pumps for those offices, which would be a good way to spend the money. Possibility I'm trying to find out if if the money could be used for an EV charger not on town property, to maybe put one over in the park. And sorry, yes, I'm aware of the Make Ready program and definitely would use that. But I just want to check to make sure. So I have reached out to find out if we could use the money for a non-municipal project because it is for the town's benefit. And I think that would fly.
Whatever you're asking, did you get a reply on that question?
I have not so far. But there's all, well, we'll get back to this other point. Let's see, there could be money put together for, a resource guide for the town, different contractors in the town, what they do, heat pump installers, who to go to for insulation. Question, the Energy Navigators through CCE does a lot of that already. So that's something that could be added to the website, but there could be another little campaign to try to get the town, interested. You could have a little brochure and hand out LEDs, bulbs to people. That'd be one way to distribute the money. And also there is still the possibility of the EV chargers through another current program, which uses Make Ready. And I think there's also the program through DC, which provides money. Or there's a consultant which will help us utilize the funds to get, but they would have to be installed on municipal property. So that would be the town hall and the highway garage. Duputron Hollow, but probably wouldn't get a lot of charging out there, would fill the bill. So we probably couldn't do that one. But maybe we could put more chargers if it was deemed it would be a good use of the money for town hall. I'm not sure how many people plug in over there, but I've heard this pretty well used, and something over at highway also. So there might be some money needed to if the other grant money didn't cover everything. So there's a couple of things which I pulled up from the list and are sort of geared towards the town. If any of those work, but we need to get this letter into NYSERDA by the end of the month so that we do get the $5,000. And I don't think, it could be, we recommend evaluating what recommendations are needed for the town hall, and putting the additional money towards the heat pumps or other recommendations, and kind of leave it a little open-ended like that, or to put towards EV chargers in the in the town, and leave it a little open-ended where they're actually going to. So I think there is somebody you put something down with actually having to put down the dollars and cents being attributed to it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Catherine.
Yeah.
It just did its thing by itself there.
Okay, so we need to come up with a smaller list.
Or pick from the list.
Okay, I leave this to you two to tell me what or talk about what you think.
Well, I mean, there was this on the agenda, because we have to decide before the end of the month. So.
Right. But if we're scheduling another meeting, we could do it that way as well.
Yeah, but we just as well not to wait till the last minute.
It depends on whether we can decide or we can break it down. I do think heat pumps are a good idea, so I would put in heat pumps.
I do too. I think anything to make the town hall more energy efficient is a really good idea.
We don't need to be wasting money.
There's also another grant which hopefully can work towards. I'm trying to do some benchmarking, advanced benchmarking for the buildings. So if we get another, I think it's another 2,000 points, we will be able to call for a additional $10,000 grant. It's not that far out of our reach, so we could think towards putting the $5,000 or something with the thought that we're going to be getting another $10,000 in the nearest future.
Nice.
Well, if we move in the direction of the heat pumps, that would definitely eat up more than the grants.
Yes.
We do have 3 gas furnaces currently. We're already zoned. We already have 3 zones. The main meeting room is 1, and the offices are a second one, except for the clerk. I think the clerk and the hall are like their own zone.
It doesn't have to be specific. It can be, you want to look at the town hall to upgrade any, maybe do an audit, maybe even just do an in-house audit, things you can do, and then use the money towards upgrades on the town hall, which could include heat pumps, lighting, and you can give a general list of everything, heat pumps, lighting in the building.
I would like to at least consider the idea of doing something about the keeps the heat out with or making the windows more efficient. And I don't know, I mean, that sounds like a huge expensive thing, but
The windows aren't bad.
they're single.
No, they're double.
Oh, wow. They let a lot of heat in the summer. Anyway, okay, that was what I said. No, I don't care. You all want to pick something else, that's fine with me.
Yeah, but I think, it's been a long time since we had an energy audit.
Yeah,
And
so we
we
should
did a lot of
do,
the work in
right.
conjunction with the energy audit, but
Okay.
maybe have, an energy audit focused on the new building actually, which is now at this point 20 years old.
This building.
That part.
That part, the newer part.
I would do it, I don't know why we
This
could
building is
just,
actually way more efficient than that one is.
I don't know that we have to, if we say the town hall, I'm not sure we have to.
We don't have to specify which part of it.
I wouldn't think so, and we could spend more time on the part that needs it more than the other, but I don't think we have to write that as part of the grant.
No, or indication. All we need to do is give them a letter saying, here's what we plan on using the
Right.
money for. So an
Jim?
energy audit of the town hall is sufficiently vague.
Right.
And then implementing the identified ways
Right.
of improving energy efficiency which would be a follow-on thing.
Yes.
Um,
Would that be enough for the grant, Jim? To
Yeah,
say,
I can draft something up. The intent is to use the funds towards a audit for the town hall building with the additional funds going towards recommendations from the audit. And I can make a short list of a couple things, which I assume they'll find.
oh, cool. That sounds good to me.
So
Yeah.
I'll do that and send it to everyone, and you can look at it. And it needs the EIN number on the document. Which
Okay, good.
which we can easily supply.
Yes. Oh, thank you very much.
sounds good.
So
Thanks, Jim.
do we need a formal action or is it
He
just?
said he's going to draft up something for us to look at it, and draft up and what.
Yeah, but it also needs to go in by the end of the month. So we're not planning a meeting between now and then. So I think you should.
Yes, formal action. Go
So,
ahead.
so I move that we indicate in our communication to sort of that the money will be applied towards an energy audit of the town hall and then pursuing subsequent identified ways of improving its energy efficiency.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Okay. I agree. Let's have a
Any
vote.
discussion? Okay, no, Janet, the vote.
Yes, Connors,
Yes.
Hunter,
Yes.
Woodworth,
Yes,
Gagnon.
Yes. Okay. He's still sitting patiently here. There are a couple of related highway items. The highway department would like to purchase a backhoe, and they have a proposal about how to pay for it, which includes in part auctioning off some of our used equipment. You want to speak to us about that, Keith? Just need to unmute. There you go.
Can you hear me? There we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we are looking to get a new backhoe, a brand new, we're looking at a new JCB backhoe. And the reason why we're looking for one is just it's still to this day, it's probably the most versatile machine out there. We need something that we can we currently have a spare loader in the shop. So if our loader's out, if there's trucks that are down or something and we need to load a truck while the loader's out, sometimes it goes out of the yard and then we get a truck that might be stuck waiting for an hour because he has nothing there to load his truck with. So then we have to find something else for him to do. But reason being, it would be nice to have something else there with a bucket. We do have another loader there now, but it's, I want to say 30-year-old, and it's dying out. It's a little bit, it's seen better days, if you know what I mean. So we want to use this to replace that. Also, we run into our out in the seasonal roads where where you can barely get to. Some of these roads are impassable almost. We have to care for these too. And in times of winter and stuff, we can go out into these roads and we can work on them. However, when you take a track machine out or something, it's a little bit difficult to, we only have one driver that can move the machine. Secondly, we can take the backhoe right over the road. And when you take a track machine out in the winter time, you have to leave about an hour for a delivery each way, because I don't trust leaving machinery out in these seasonal roads with everything that's going on. I like to leave the equipment somewhere where maybe there's some windows or something where people can see this equipment, because it gets vandalized. It's very expensive for the town.
Do we have any tracked equipment?
Any what? I'm sorry.
We have any tracked equipment?
Yes, we do. We have the small excavator, and that'll work. That performs great out in the seasonal roads and stuff. It's just in these winter months when it's cold, sometimes we can really take advantage of getting out there. But also you have to allow another, probably in the winter months, you have to allow probably another hour at the end of the day to clean the tracks out, because the tracks will freeze up on a track machine. They're not made for winter. Versus a backhoe, you can get in, you can turn the key, and you can go to the job site and you can come right back. There's no, it takes a lot of the time out of it, probably 3 hours of time that you're adding to your job to do that. Also, this can be used for some of our ditching. It can be used for, it's just a very highly used machine. And so that's what we're doing. We're looking to trying to add one to the highway. And we've come up with enough old equipment that we think that we can offset this quite well. The older equipment's bringing quite a bit of money these days, and I think we're pretty close to paying for it with the auction, with what we're gonna sell. So
Is getting rid of the old loader part of that?
the old loader,
Is that part of that equipment that you want to auction off?
yeah, the old loader, yes, and that has some very serious stuff coming up on it that's very, very, very costly. It's not something, and even when you get through those repairs, you're not going to have a machine that you can take out of the yard. It's not it's something that has to stay close by, because there's a lot of issues with it. So
the idea is that the backhoe could be used instead of the old loader.
in time of need with the front loader, I'm looking at a backhoe because it does have a loader on it, so you can load a truck with it.
Got a bucket on it.
And however, you can go out and you can also dig a ditch with it. So, and we have a lot of ditching to do. So right now we're down to 2 ditching machines, one being the excavator. We can use that a little bit, and the backhoe would be ideal for a little bit, probably further back, like in the seasonals and stuff. But these roads, you have to care for them, and they're getting to the point where, you have to do something with these roads to qualify as a road, and we're getting money for these roads. We have to take care of them. So I foresee the future of being able to pass over them easy. I have great ideas for them that are used of some of our recycled materials, if you will, are great for our seasonal roads, so it's not costing the town a lot of money. But that's, a backhoe would greatly help that. So that's what we're looking at.
I thought I had heard that it was a used backhoe you were going for, but you actually want to buy a
No,
new one?
this is a new backhoe. It'll have a 2 to 5 year warranty.
Mhm.
Used equipment right now is pulling so much money. I would say if you could find a used machinery with low hours and hardly no warranty, you're still gonna pay probably about the same price. Well, we wouldn't get OGS pricing on it anyway, but used equipment's really holding its value. And I also value all of this equipment. I look at this equipment very carefully for the town, because I look at this as like our little mini excavator. I look at that as like a gold coin for the town. It's, if you keep up on this equipment, you care for it, you oil it, grease it, this stuff, it really does hold its value well. But we are in a boat right now where we have a lot of old machinery. And some of that we can part with. That right now, while it's bringing good money, is a good time, I think, to maybe off some of it if we can. It really doesn't have much use if it's broken and sitting out in the weeds, and it's a little too much to fix it. So
Sounds to me like another part of that is if we have the proper equipment, when we get all these grants and money to do things on the roads, we have the equipment to actually do it efficiently and not have to go back and forth with it, as you suggested. I'm for this.
Yep, that's correct.
So, let's see.
We've got some resolutions.
You did draft resolutions.
Yeah.
Janice, do you have those? You could screen share them, or?
Let me get it back on my.
Yes, I do. Hang on one second. We're looking at the highway auction.
Yes.
Here it is. Sorry.
I can't remember where it was.
Over here. Here. Screen. Sure.
Okay.
See it?
Yes.
Yep, thanks.
This is kind of a rough list of the things that Keith mentioned that he wanted to send. When we actually do submit them, for the record in the minutes, we'll have VIN numbers and all those kinds of things. So it's really identified well in the minutes once it goes to auction. So the total price of the total minimum amount, Keith has set the lowest accepted bid on this, on each one of these pieces of equipment. This equals 99,000. Now we'll probably get more than that. This is just really on the low side of what this stuff is really actually bringing at auction. So we're thinking that we probably in the long, might be able to fund the whole cost of the backhoe. So we kind of have these two resolutions side by side here. One is to approve to send the old equipment to auction, and the other resolution is to purchase the backhoe. The way that we worded it is that the town board would give permission to buy the backhoe for $130,200 plus the 5-year $5,500. And this purchase will be funded using the amount received from auctioning old equipment, and the remainder will be paid from the CHIPS funds that are allocated to the town of Danby from New York State. And hopefully that won't be much of it, because he should be able to, get more than this at auction.
So we need to move both, I'm
Just do one.
we do zone it out.
Yeah.
I move that we set those things up for auction.
What? Sorry.
Put those things up for auction, the first proposal.
Yeah. Second, sorry.
Any discussion further?
Thank you. Thank you for the work.
Okay, I think we're ready for a vote.
Am I muted or no?
No, you're not.
So, wait, Pat,
Catherine
Catherine moved it?
Yeah, no, Catherine seconded.
Okay, I actually wrote down Pat and then got confused, and then Hunter, okay. We're ready for a vote. Connors. Is Connors still there? I can't see anybody anymore.
You're muted.
Oh, right. Okay,
Oh,
here.
she's got unmute.
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry.
Sorry, Leslie.
That's okay. I had to chat about that too, but.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right,
Okay.
I heard that guy.
Yes, all right. Hunter.
Yes.
Woodworth.
Yes,
Gagnon.
Yes.
Okay.
So then the second one is the authorization to purchase with the conditions that Laura just stated.
right. I move that second proposal.
And I'll second that one too.
Okay.
Any discussion about that?
Same, thank you very much for the work.
Okay, I think we're ready.
Connors.
Yes.
Hunter.
Yes.
Woodworth.
Yes,
Gagnon.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
everyone.
Hey, you're good to go, Keith.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good luck with it. Okay, Sarah's been patiently waiting for us to get to the next item, which is the proposed revision of the rules of procedure for privilege of the floor. Can we screen share that and go through it? Sarah, you probably have it there, right? So Janice, if you give her permission, she could screen share.
Oh, and I also, yep, hang on. Actually, if David can screen share it, that would be. What are we screen
I
sharing?
do have it up if you want to. I just joined with my PC
Okay,
that I can screen share from.
all right, there you go.
Why is the screen so small? Okay, there we go. So this is what we had before posted. But when I went back to do the changes that we were talking about, we had missed one change that I added from earlier this year. I don't know if we did vote on it. We just it just wasn't added to this. So I figure we can, but that's why this is all looking like it was edited. And then, all right, so it was a while since I did this. Let me think. I think I added this section 6.3. I just for simplicity's sake, I just rewrote the entire thing because it had to be renumbered. So I just copied and pasted the whole section 6. Do you want me to just read it out loud?
Well, since I can't read it from this distance, might be a good idea.
Yeah, sure. So the section 6 starts with just a general, just that we'll have a privilege of the floor, and then length of privilege of the floor is the next section, which is for verbal privilege of the floor. And then this is the new stuff. So section 6.3, written privilege of the floor. Any person may opt to submit their privilege of the floor comment to the board in writing rather than in person. Comments submitted in writing will be read aloud by the town clerk or their designee. This rule is intended to allow public participation by members of the public when attendance at the meeting is not possible. The following rules will be used to ensure equal treatment between written and spoken comments made on the floor. And then these are subsections of that. 6.3.1. Written privilege of the floor submittals must be 400 words or less. That was an average that I found online for the same timing, the 3-minute timing. Next section, if submitted by email, it must be specifically indicated that the comment is intended for privilege of the floor. Email submissions are to be emailed to the town clerk. Next subsection, if multiple comments are submitted, only the most recent submittal will be read aloud at the meeting. Next one, if a person chooses to speak in person during privilege of the floor of the same meeting where they also submitted a written comment, they will not have their written comment read aloud. And
Does that imply that the written comment is dealt with as correspondence or?
no, it's just done after the verbal ones. Kind of like a subsection of privilege of the floor. If here, let me scroll down to our agenda here. So here's our normal kind of agenda like list. Rather than just having privilege of the floor, you could have like another subsection that's, or just don't read any of the written ones until after everybody who has spoken, but you can add another agenda item just saying written privilege of the floor is before correspondence, because it's not correspondence, it's privilege of the floor.
Or something like, written submissions in lieu of, to be read or something.
Yeah. I mean, it still is privilege of the floor. It's all getting read out loud, but how it's worded doesn't really make a difference.
What happens if somebody submits something in writing, but then shows up and wants to make a comment in person?
Well, that's
what happens to the previously submitted item?
It just doesn't get read aloud. It's not something that gets attached to the agenda. It just gets read aloud at the meeting. So nobody sees it until it's actually spoken at the meeting. So if somebody shows up and wants to speak, that's what this, the section 6.3.4 is. If a person chooses to speak in person during privilege of the floor, where they also submitted written comments, they will not have their written comments read aloud, which is why there has to be an order to the two things.
Right. But my only question is, what happens to that comment that is not read aloud?
It just got sent to the board the same way any other email gets sent to us, or you guys, sorry.
Okay, so it's basically part of our email record then.
Yeah, it's just a comment at that point.
But it's not part of it's not part of the meeting record unless somebody says it specifically is for the record, because that's dealt with elsewhere.
And it only becomes part of the record when the town clerk or their designee reads it aloud. It's not posted anywhere in writing anywhere. That's the only way I could come up with it being fair between regular, like with the same limitations on both.
Yes, but we have elsewhere in the rules here someplace, there's a provision that if somebody wants to make a comment to the board for the record, but not necessarily have it read aloud, just have it be part of correspondence, they just have to indicate in their communication that it is for the record, and it becomes part of.
I don't think that was ever in there. I think that was just what we had said before, just in speaking, but I don't think that's actually in there.
It may not be in the rules of procedure. Don't we have an email? Don't we have a separate document that deals specifically with email?
Well, we have our email policy, but that is mostly for like the use of town emails, not how people are emailing.
I distinctly remember that, for the record thing.
I know, and that's what caused the original confusion.
Right.
Yes, and I thought we had it clarified, but it may well be in the email policy, not in the rules of procedure.
I don't think it was in anywhere. We just kind of started doing that and things started getting added to correspondence. And that's when I started saying this doesn't make any sense because now people get double privilege of the floor or whatever, or things like that.
Yeah, this change makes sense and it simplifies.
Well, it makes sense clarifying privilege of the floor anyway.
Yes, right.
And that's
It's basically two ways of having your comment read aloud. Either read aloud yourself or have it read if you can't be there.
Well, unless they just don't, if they show up and want to make a comment, whether it's the written one or not, that's the comment, that's the only privilege of the floor they get.
Right, they don't get it double.
Yeah. right.
No.
And this. Don't. Okay, so
Town board, everything like it. Really like it.
Yeah, I think these changes make sense.
yeah,
Very good.
yeah.
I move we approve the changes to the policy.
I'll second that.
Sorry, there, we got a second.
Seconded.
Leslie second.
Any further discussion? Okay. Vote.
Connors,
Yes.
Hunter,
Yes.
Woodworth,
Yes,
Gagnon.
Yes. The next item has been postponed because David didn't have time to do it. Scheduling a budget meeting.
That was gonna be budget and the voucher or whatever,
All right, we have to do, right, budget and the general fund.
general fund.
That's right.
we haven't approved minutes in a while either.
Well, we didn't have any to approve.
I know. That means they should be
We're
on.
just
Wait a
doing
minute.
the last one, September 6th.
I don't think we did July, whatever it was either.
No, we did.
Okay.
I can look it up, but if you wanted to add any minutes that haven't been approved, then I'll be sure and verify that.
We do that.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it's still last, what, September through December?
Right, we just should schedule, well, we at least need to schedule one for this month, which means
Mhm.
next week.
Okay. What about Monday?
What?
What did you say, Leslie?
What about Monday, the 26th?
Okay,
Well, I didn't bring my calendar, but I didn't think of it because I always have it at my desk.
Sorry, and I-
It's the first time that I'm not there.
Well, I hope you're free to come.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. I think so.
Of course,
Oh, your regular calendar, I can't help with that one either.
maybe it'll make it a short meeting.
Yeah,
What time?
what time? Yeah.
Monday the 26th. Well, we're kind of like it 6 o'clock, but I'd be okay doing later if you want to do that.
it'd probably be easier if we're consistent on timing when we start meetings.
Say 6.
It's easier to remember.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
correct.
Do we want to do 6 and then maybe 3 people could come at 5:30 and do the warrants? Just an idea. Going once?
Yes, so just, yeah, does that work?
Yeah, I think so.
Whoever shows up, if we have to have 3 people to show up early.
Well, yeah, but we don't have.
That doesn't have to be a part of this. We can schedule the meeting and however we do it, whether we show up or
Right,
we do it
yeah,
online,
so
isn't relevant.
in other words, she's suggesting starting at 5:30, but.
No,
Okay, she's
no,
suggesting-
she's not.
Yeah,
Well, what she's suggesting is something we used to do, which is to
Right.
show up and go through the pile of papers, but we're not doing that now.
No, we can do it online. So somebody can come early if they choose, but they can do it online if they choose. We don't have to decide in advance how it's done. But they need to be checked before the meeting.
Well, sure, yeah.
So the
We need to
meeting-
have preferably not more, more than half an hour before the meeting.
So the
Okay, so
meeting,
Janice will get those out to us before the meeting and we can vote on them at the meeting. I just didn't
Yeah.
want to take up a lot of the budget meeting time to do anything with else.
right. So the meeting will be Monday, the next meeting, Monday, the 26th at 6 o'clock.
Okay,
So Pat, you moved that?
well, second,
Yep, moved it,
At 6 o'clock,
6 o'clock.
all right. Do we want to give thought to scheduling various departments or agencies at particular meetings?
That's what we
As part
could
of
do
the
at that
budget review?
meeting. That's part of the budget meeting. We can talk about that at that meeting,
Okay,
because we're hitting 2 hours.
and yeah.
I moved it and it seconded.
yes,
A second.
Who, seconded? Oh,
Leslie,
Leslie moved it?
I moved.
You moved it, Leslie second. Okay.
All right, so Connors,
So it's
Yeah.
been-
Aye.
Hunter,
Yes.
Woodworth,
Yes,
Kenyon.
Yes. All right.
Oh, can Laura come on Monday?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
Zoom in for it. Yeah. I'll have to be here. Well, this is an interesting question. Well, if we're going to do other action, we have to be here in person.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, so that's Monday, you said at 5:30?
6
Six.
o'clock.
6
6
o'clock.
o'clock.
Monday at 6 o'clock, we'll have a budget meeting and then to approve those general fund vouchers.
Yeah.
I'll be there, yeah.
Thank
Right.
you.
Okay. The Hamlet Neighborhood Zone expansion.
I move we approve the expansion, whatever.
I'll second
I,
that.
okay, good.
We have reviewed it extensively.
Yes.
Any further discussion?
No, not from me.
Any comments from David before we vote?
Yes, we have to do seeker.
Oh, that's right. Like, we haven't finished seeker. You recall, we were in the midst of doing it.
Oh,
And we paused the process because we didn't quite finish it.
You want to put it off to the next meeting, or do you want me to pull it up now?
I don't see any, I'm willing to.
Is it the same as last time?
Get it done, yeah. We're almost done, as I recall.
Yeah,
let's pull it up and do it.
yeah.
That, if it works for you.
Before we do that, though, I move we extend the meeting because we just came up on 2 hours.
Second.
Did you just second it?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna share.
Does
Yeah,
that
my
need,
screen.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
need a vote.
it does.
okay, Connors,
Yeah, Leslie.
oh, where'd she go?
We lose her?
We lost Leslie.
Oh, well.
Okay, Hunter,
Yes.
Woodworth,
Yes,
Kenyon.
Yes, okay. Since then, David's ready to screen share.
Yes, I am ready to screen share. All right, so I just want to show what's different from what you saw last time. The difference in the part 1 is that previously we said adding 2 parcels. Now we're saying adding 1 parcel. It's still the adoption of a local law. So we check yes and provide a narrative. The town of Danby TownBoard has proposed to amend the town zoning map to add 1 parcel to the Hamlet neighborhood zone. Moving this parcel from rural 2 to the Hamlet neighborhood zone would allow additional development of that parcel. The goal of adding this parcel is to make up for Hamlet neighborhood land lost to a recent solar farm that had been in the Hamlet neighborhood, and to rationalize the zoning map and encourage orderly development focused in Danby's Hamlet areas. Development allowed is limited by the capacity of land and current lack of water infrastructure. Any development beyond 4 residential units on the lot would require site plan review and additional environmental review. The additional 2 residential units on the lot that already has 2 units is not expected to have any significant environmental impact. Mitigating impacts are the requirements of the town of Danby protecting streams and wetlands, as well as requirements for site plan review for any denser development or additional environmental review if roads or other significant infrastructure projects were envisioned in the future.
That I can read.
Change the screen that I'm sharing quickly to make sure that we're clear what's happening here. This is exactly what was discussed at the last meeting. Very small change made. The board discussed and decided on the change, having a slow loading. Share another screen instead.
There's Leslie.
There we go. Okay, zoom in.
Your speech is
So
a little
what the-
broken for some reason.
I'm sorry, Joel.
Are you having trouble understanding David or just me?
Are you back? The last one was okay.
So what I was trying to say is that what the board saw last month included this parcel in the Hamlet neighborhood zone and this parcel in the Hamlet neighborhood zone. The board asked me to remove that parcel, which has been done. In a previous meeting, the board had asked us to remove this portion of this lot from the Hamlet neighborhood zone and keep it in the rural 2 zone. So that is the changes to this map. This parcel was removed. The rest is the same as you saw, and those were the changes that were requested. I'll go back to the part 2. All right, the part 2 is a series of questions for the board. And as the planner, I've filled out a draft. This is the board's document, so you need to speak up if you want to change any of these draft check marks. The check marks indicate either no impact or small impact in a question, or moderate to large impact may occur. For this action, moderate to large.
Didn't we make it through most of this last time?
Yes, but it's changed, so we have to do it
It's
again.
changed.
Yeah, but any of the changes would have reduced the impact.
He's asking if.
Bill, do you want me to not read through them and the board's comfortable that they have read the questions and agree no to small impact on all of these questions?
I don't know about number 2. I mean, making it so, it sounded like right now there could be 2 extra houses on that lot, and we're saying that it could now be 4.
There are currently 2 on the lot to
Right.
exist. So they could add 2 more without any further environmental review after this, if this was change was passed.
So there could be 4.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know if that is a small or minor impact. Probably depends on how big the buildings are and whether they have garages, and I'm not sure about number 2.
It looks to me like it would be a small impact. I can't imagine it being a large impact.
2 more houses.
Neither.
How many acres is it? How many acres is that lot?
It's about 8.
8 acres.
Yeah. So we're talking about 4 houses and 8 acres.
That's actually a lot of houses on 8 acres, but that, are we talking?
We're in the Hamlet neighborhood.
We're in the
Oh, in
Hamlet
the
neighborhood.
neighborhood, right.
The whole neighborhood is like that.
Yeah, sorry.
So it's a very small addition to the Hamlet neighborhood where that density is already
So
allowed.
it's changing, but that's not what we're measuring. We're not measuring what's next door. The change is from, the rural to the hamlet. So that is a change, and just for that lot, not to the east of it. You can't, it's not saying, well, that neighborhood already has a lot of houses. It's what is that lot zoned as right now, and we're looking at potentially changing that.
Yeah.
I don't see it as having a large impact. I see it as no or small impact.
Me too. The
The large impact is making it into a Hamlet neighborhood. That's the.
yeah, but it's not a large impact. The effect of the change is to allow 2 more houses to be built.
Yeah, but that's only because we're putting it, once we do this, then it is in the Hamlet neighborhood, and that's not an impact in the Hamlet neighborhood. It's just 2 different ways of saying a similar thing. So in the Hamlet neighborhood, no, it's not a large impact.
Well, the question is,
Right.
that asked is, will the proposed action, which is putting it into the Hamlet neighborhood
Right.
zone,
Right.
will
It's
the
a,
proposed action result in the change of use of land? Yes, it will. It'll go from 2 to 4. Is that a large impact? I
on
don't
8
think
acres.
so. On 8 acres, yeah. I mean, the reason we took out that other lot to the north was to reduce the associated impact.
Right.
And the reason for making this change in the first place was to accommodate the overall, I guess I would say, plan for the area that Marcia Braden had sort of in the back of her mind for some time.
Right.
This would enable it to be accommodated. And I think consistent with the development that we propose, adjoining it anyway.
Yeah.
Of having that be, the Hamlet neighborhood zone. I think that taking out that area close to the pond at the corner there, address the potential visual and potential environmental impact of development there, which is unlikely anyway because of the wetland that was previously expressed by the neighborhood. And I don't see it, frankly, I don't see it as a large impact.
I would like us to move forward on this. At this point, I've said what I thought, and it becomes, I understand what's being done. I think the issue is that the zoning got changed after this person already had an idea of what they were going to do with that land, and is that right?
Yeah.
And so that happens, technically that can happen all over the town.
Yeah.
And that's where we, what kind of precedent things are we doing?
That's a good precedent, because we said when we did the zoning, that the zoning isn't permanent. It needs to be viable, it needs to move when other things change in the neighborhood and there's other changes and it fits. So we already said that should happen with zoning.
Yeah, I mean,
I said it over and over.
Yeah, well, it's to me, it's fairly astonishing that we're hung up on this minor point when the boundaries of the Hamlet neighborhood zone was a pretty big, discussion we had in advance of doing it. And a lot of that was kind of arbitrary as to where the edges were.
Yep.
Well, that's the point. It's arbitrary. And then there's Leslie.
Yeah, Leslie?
Oh, just given the zoning now, with no change, if the person who you think might like to do something with that property and build more houses or whatever, what would they have to do to get that? Go to the BZA?
I mean, they could try for a variance. It would be under the current zoning, it would be a 400% variance. It would be a very significant variance. They could make, because it's in the 10-acre per home zone, they already have twice what's allowed by that zone. They do have the argument that what's in place there was allowed under the previous zoning of that, and it was low density residential, and that they, made a plan around conversations they had with Jason. It's a balancing test that the BZA would have, but I would think that if the town board specifically made a legislative action that they did not think it appropriate to have that level of density, it would be a hard argument for the BZA.
Wow, huh?
Yeah, if the town board always says it's not appropriate for that area, then anytime that happens, I would not want the BZA to go back on that.
That's what the whole zoning is, Pat, though, where the town board has passed the zoning. So
I'm saying if the town board does not approve it, then the BZA should not approve it. It already has come to the town board, and we've already turned it down.
So
but
basically,
the residents not asking for it.
well, so to answer your question, Leslie, it would be a stretch for the BZA to grant a variance when it would be clearly inconsistent with what the board wants if the board doesn't approve the change. Yeah, and it's in right now, you know, it happened to fall outside the line, and it went from, there's no, it's interesting that there's no, what they call low density residential zone next to the hamlet there, but there isn't. It didn't end up as one of our pink zones, so it jumps from hamlet neighborhood to, was it rural 2?
Roll 2.
And it goes, so it goes from no constraints on lot size to 10 acres, depending on which side of the line you're on.
These came back from a search.
So I mean, I don't see it as an unreasonable extension of the hamlet neighborhood zone to add that property, which allows for 2 more houses. I certainly don't see it as a large impact to do that.
Yeah. Is everything, I see both sides of this point, and I don't want to, I just see it, and I don't know whether, I mean, we've been over this, we sort of agreed to it, and now we're backing off again, and it's a very frustrating experience, because I think the part that feels bad is that when I use the word arbitrary, all of our boundaries, many of the boundaries for the zones all over the town have been sort of arbitrary. And then we have the issue of, okay, if somebody doesn't like it, then they can go to BZA, and BZA has a long discussion, and then they say, okay, quite often. So if we change this zone on our own and say this, then it doesn't ever show up in the BZA, and this is it. So in that case, I'd rather that we did it, say change this to the core. I don't think there were a huge number of objections in the neighborhood.
Well, I think we addressed the neighborhood concern.
Right, exactly. So I think we should go, I think I'm going to say that it's not a large impact. Yeah.
Okay, so that's 3 of us saying it's not, so I think that's enough to proceed. You want to go through the list?
No.
I think we did, because I think that we went through this before.
Yes.
Hey, 2 was the issue, and that was why we took out that other property.
Right, and when taking that out, that was the reason we took it out,
That's the reason we took it out.
because it could be, now it's not.
Well, that was kind of what I thought.
Right.
Otherwise, why would we have done it in the first place?
Now, otherwise, we should just not approved at all, instead of
Exactly.
doing all this crap.
Right. So at this point, all of the impacts are reduced from what they had been before when we went through this list. So I'm comfortable with saying that they're fine, all checked off.
Is there any more, is this the end of the form, or is there more?
In part 3, you explain your rationale for why there is only a small impact. The explanation: adoption of the zoning map amendment would allow up to 2 additional homes on around 8 acres. This level of density in the area near where the town comprehensive plan has said the development should be focused does not impose any significant environmental impact. Concerns about potential impacts of Jennings Pond have been mitigated by stepping back the zoning change and not including most land within 200 feet of Bald Hill Road from the existing house to the corner of Lieb Road. then what someone would need to make a resolution to complete this seeker is that you have determined, based on the information analysis above and supporting documentation, that the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts.
I move that we so find.
I second.
Any discussion before we vote? Okay, Janice?
Connors. Sorry, hang on. You there?
No.
Yeah? No, okay. Hunter,
I'm gonna say yes because of mitigating that we've talked about.
Woodward,
Yes.
Yes,
Gagnon,
Yes. Okay, so that's the environmental review,
right. And then we have to vote on the proposal.
right, which is to pass
On
a
the what?
local law that would make the change to the
Yeah.
neighborhood zone.
Which I have here. It's very short. Local law amending local law 1 of 2022. Be it enacted by the town board of the town of Danby as follows. The official zoning map adopted January 4th, 22 is hereby repealed and replaced with the attached map dated July 15th, 2022.
I move that resolution.
Is that the right date for the map?
Yes.
Okay. I now second it. Any, ready to vote?
Yeah.
Connors,
No.
Hunter,
Yes.
Woodworth,
Yes,
Gagnon.
Yes. Okay. Next meeting agenda? We didn't, did we defer anything?
well, we
deferred
deleted
to
two
the
things.
top.
I assume we want to put them back on.
Well,
Which
yeah,
kind of
Jeff
exception
Jeff Lang will be available next time. We wanted to come to the meeting on the, we want to focus on the budget on that one, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
don't
only,
wait,
that's only a budget meeting,
It's only, well, it's mostly budget,
except for the
budget and the warrant.
warrant, yes.
Yeah, we
that's it.
don't,
So we'll bring it up at the October, whatever it is, first meeting in October.
the third,
Second, we changed.
Or we change it to October 3rd.
yeah.
So we have a public hearing then on the overriding tax cap. Law.
Mhm.
And we'll have that action too. Jeff Lang will probably be available by then. to talk about Next steps, and I may have more to report by then too, because.
Oh, how come Nick isn't, is Nick still involved?
Nick Hemholt?
Or I mean Zach, sorry,
Zach.
sorry.
Jeff Lang spoke to Zach, and Zach basically said that while he was interested in the issue and be happy to consult or kibitz, he didn't really want to be part of a committee or a formal process. So that's kind of like backing off to me. Jeff is very much still interested, however, so we can talk to him about how that goes. And in the meantime, Mark Whitmer and I, who are co-chairs of this broadband committee with CCOG, are going to talk to Nick Hemholt, who's the county guy, about the county's efforts and how we can not duplicate what they're doing, but not be limited to what they're doing either. So that's discussion that hasn't happened yet. It might happen by the time we have that meeting. I can report on that. So either way, we'll at least have Jeff that we can talk to.
So what did we talk about? I mean, I could go back and look at the minutes maybe. Was there an idea of maybe trying to get pinpoint from Clarity what the major areas that are underserved or not served and how much it would cost to provide that service.
Right, I think where we left it was that we were going to basically talk about what the next steps ought to be. And that's certainly one of the things that would be on the short list of things that could happen. But that's what that discussion was supposed to be about. And we bring that in any other discussion, any thoughts about what else we might do as part of that discussion on the 3rd. We don't want to talk about it tonight. Complete enough.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
There's going to be other stuff, but that's the bulk of the carryover. And if we're good on that, then I think we're good to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
You don't need to.
Oh, goody.
Meeting adjourned.
Yay.
Good
Yay.
night, everybody. Thank
Good
you.
night, and thank you.